The festive atmosphere at Busan Asiad Main Stadium suddenly turned tense when BTS's Jimin suffered a serious injury after falling on a slippery stage. However, Jihope's reaction, as he appeared to simply stand still and seemed cold, sparked anger and widespread speculation among netizens about a possible internal conflict between the members. Behind the camera flashes and the panic of tens of thousands of fans witnessing the heartbreaking incident, there was a surprising and emotional professional decision hidden behind the silence of the group's dance captain. Welcome to Jimin Gallery, the home for Park Jimin fans who want to discover all the latest news, interesting facts, and stories behind the world's spotlight on Jimin. Busan. The magnificent atmosphere of Busan Asiad Main Stadium, which was initially filled with the deafening cheers of tens of thousands of fans, suddenly turned tense during the second day of BTS's concert. An overwhelming sense of anxiety spread across the stage when an unexpected incident reportedly involved one of its members, Jimin. Amid dazzling lighting arrangements and dramatic visual effects, the moment instantly made the hearts of both the live audience and those watching through screens around the world stop. The concert, which was expected to become the emotional peak of their tour, had begun flawlessly. All 7 members performed with incredible energy, setting the stage on fire with their iconic choreography and precise movements. However, it seemed that fate had prepared something unexpected for the physically and mentally exhausting night. As the performance entered its middle section, during a fast-paced song, the tension on stage continued to rise as sweat began pouring from the bodies of the world-famous idols. The stage floor, which had become slippery due to bubble and water effects used during the previous performance, quietly became a hidden danger that no one noticed. Jimin, known for always giving 100% of his energy in every movement, performed with complete expression without realizing the risk around him. The frightening moment began when Jimin executed an extremely fast and sharp spinning transition at the center of the stage. Whether caused by an imperfect step or a sudden loss of balance due to extreme exhaustion, his left foot suddenly slipped at an unnatural angle. His body lost balance for a brief second that felt like an eternity to everyone watching. A loud impact could be faintly heard beneath the booming music as Jimin's body hit the stage floor in a concerning position. He fell with his knee and wrist absorbing the extreme pressure of his body weight. At that exact moment, the vocal line he was performing was interrupted, replaced by a deep expression of pain visible on the star's face. At the side of a stage not far from where the incident happened, Jihope stood still, witnessing the entire sequence of events with his own eyes. Instead of immediately running over in panic or reaching out like a worried teammate, Jihope appeared frozen in place, as if time had stopped. His sharp and serious gaze was directed toward Jimin, who was visibly struggling on the stage floor. The dramatic scene unfolding before thousands of armies that night was heartbreaking and raised many questions. Jihope, who is usually known as one of the most caring and protective members toward the others, remained standing still with both hands by his sides. There were no rushed footsteps and no obvious signs of panic from the main dancer. Jimin, still sitting weakly on the floor, tried to lift his head and look toward Jihope, his eyes showing both pain and a silent hope for even the smallest gesture of help. However, he only received a distant look from Jihope, who remained in position without immediately interrupting the choreography. The few meters between them suddenly felt like an enormous and impossible distance. The sharp spotlight on the stage that night seemed to highlight the dramatic contrast between the two artists. On one side, Jimin struggled just to lift himself back up while holding his ankle, which appeared to be showing signs of injury. On the other side, Jihope continued following the rhythm and choreography with a calm expression, as if the incident was not enough to stop the performance. Fans in the front rows began noticing the unusual atmosphere, and cries of concern started echoing throughout the stadium. Some audience members were reportedly emotional seeing Jimin appearing vulnerable in the middle of such a massive stage. They never expected that, during a moment when one member was struggling, another member would seemingly remain distant. The tension continued to build as the music kept playing, seemingly ignoring the human drama unfolding above the stage. Jihope briefly turned his face away, avoiding direct eye contact with Jimin, who was still attempting to get back on his feet. This action intensified the emotions and speculation among the audience. Every passing second inside the stadium felt painfully slow for those watching the situation unfold. The contrast between the loud music and the emotional silence created a deeply unsettling atmosphere. Everyone's attention was focused on Jimin's struggle and Jihope's reaction. With the remaining strength and professionalism expected from a performer, Jimin eventually managed to stand using his healthier leg. His face appeared pale as he endured the pain, yet he refused. Many speculated that emotional exhaustion and an intense schedule may have contributed to the situation, creating a moment where sensitivity was affected by pressure. However, for many people who witnessed it, seeing Jihope appear to simply watch as Jimin struggled was difficult to understand. The second day of BTS's Busan concert suddenly became a stage filled with emotions, uncertainty, and unanswered questions. After the song ended, the stage lights quickly dimmed, leaving only the silhouette of Jimin as he limped toward the backstage area without a single arm reaching out to support him from the side. Jihope walked several steps ahead with a steady pace, allowing the emotional and physical distance between them to remain visible until they disappeared behind the black curtains. Behind the stage, the atmosphere was reportedly said to have immediately become extremely tense and completely silent among the staff and management team. There were no warm conversations that usually happen after a song session ended. Instead, there was only a piercing silence following the incident that had just taken place on stage. The real drama seemed to have only begun and left a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed it. Social media exploded just minutes after the incident reportedly happened on the Busan stage. Amateur recordings showing the moment Jimin fell, and what appeared to be Jihope's cold reaction quickly went viral, sparking intense debates around the world. Various wild speculations about a possible internal conflict between the members began spreading rapidly like a snowball growing larger. The sound of emotional fans inside the stadium continued to echo painfully even after the concert had completely ended that night. Many fans were reluctant to leave the stadium area because they were still shocked by what they had just witnessed with their own eyes. A night that was supposed to be filled with celebration instead left a deep emotional impact on one of the largest fandoms in the world. The agency itself had reportedly not released an official statement regarding Jimin's condition or the reason behind Jihope's controversial reaction at the time this report was written. This uncertainty created an atmosphere of anxiety surrounding the continuation of their tour, leaving many questions unanswered. The second day of the Busan concert is expected to be remembered not only because of its grandeur, but also because of the emotional drama and controversy that unfolded on stage. The public can only wait and wonder what truly happened behind the scenes in the lives of these idols who appear so perfect, and whether the wounds from that night can eventually be healed. However, behind all the tension and negative assumptions that had heated up the online world, a touching truth was eventually revealed about the real reason behind Jihope's seemingly cold reaction. As a dance captain carrying a great responsibility for the flow of the performance, Jihope apparently had to make an extremely difficult professional decision within a matter of seconds. He fully understood that if he stopped the choreography or showed excessive panic, the entire stage formation could fall apart, the music might come to a halt, and the extraordinary performance they had prepared for tens of thousands of fans that night could suddenly come to a complete stop. For Jihope, maintaining professionalism on stage was the highest form of respect toward the audience, and also toward Jimin himself, whom he knew possessed the heart of a true performer. He chose to remain strong as the anchor of the performance so that the audience's attention would not be completely shifted toward the incident, while also giving Jimin the space to recover with his dignity as a professional artist intact. Behind the gaze that many initially perceived as cold, Jihope was actually holding back an overwhelming sense of concern, making